Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear students, welcome to HSC English Online. Before starting today's class, we will look at some pictures and you will guess who the people in the pictures are and why they are famous. Look at the first picture. Do you know this person? This is Nelson Mandela. Do you know why he is famous? He is famous or he is known for anti-apartheid movement. Look at the next picture. Who is this person? This is our national poet, Kazi Nazrul Islam. And do you know why he is famous? He is famous as a rebel poet. He raised his fiery voice against injustice and oppression. Look at the next picture. Do you know this person? He is Dr. Muhammad Shahidullah, the greatest Bangladeshi educationalist. And he was a renowned teacher of Dhaka University. At the same time, he was a great writer and linguist. Who is this person? Right, he is Bill Gates. And why he is famous? He is the co-founder of the world's largest PC software company, Microsoft. Today we will talk about Nelson Mandela. Who was Nelson Mandela? Nelson Mandela was the first Black president of South Africa. He was preceded by F.W. de Klerk. Nelson Mandela won several awards, among them the notable or the most remarkable prize is Nobel Peace Prize. He won in 1993. His friends called him Madiba, so it was his famous nickname among the friends. What did Nelson Mandela do? What's his contribution? Nelson Mandela guided South Africa from the shackles of apartheid to a multiracial democracy as an icon of peace and reconciliation who came to embody the struggle for justice around the world. So, what was Nelson Mandela's contribution? Nelson Mandela was a guide for the South African people, and he guided them how to become free, or he showed them how to become free from the shackles of apartheid. He helped the people to become free from the shackles of apartheid. And where did he guide the people? He guided the people to a multiracial democracy. He was an icon of peace and reconciliation. He embodied the struggle for justice around the world. What is apartheid? Apartheid is the former political system in South Africa in which only white people had full potential rights and other people, especially black people, were forced to live away from white people, go to separate schools. So at that time, there was discrimination between the black people and white people. Nelson Mandela fought against that discrimination, and he wanted to ensure the rights of the black people. Now, if I ask you a question from the previous discussion, what did Nelson Mandela do? Remember here, my question starts with did. Okay. If I have a question with did, remember at the time of writing the answer, I will use verb in past form. So I will start with the subject, Nelson Mandela, then verb in past form, guided. Nelson Mandela guided South Africa from the shackles of apartheid to a multiracial democracy. If I ask you the second question, who is described as an icon of peace and reconciliation and why? If I have a question with who, just I will use the name Nelson Mandela. Then the rest of the question, Nelson Mandela is described as an icon of peace and reconciliation. The second part of the question is why? The answer will be because he guided South Africa from the shackles of apartheid to a multiracial democracy. For ensuring the rights of the people, for establishing equality of the people, Nelson Mandela fought and he was imprisoned. He was imprisoned for nearly 3 decades. Why? Because of his fight against the white minority rule. The whites were fewer in number, but they against the discrimination between the black people and the white people. And as a result of his fight, he was imprisoned for nearly 3 decades. 1 decade equal to 10 years. So 3 decades equal to 30 years, but he was imprisoned for 27 years. So about, we can say he was imprisoned for about 3 decades. Though he was imprisoned for a long time, Mandela never lost his resolve. He never lost his determination to fight for his people's emancipation or freedom. He always fought to ensure the rights of the people. He was determined to bring down apartheid while avoiding a civil war. In this line, we find the greatness of Nelson Mandela. Though he fought to ensure the rights of the people, he did not want a civil war. He always tried to avoid a civil war. He was determined to bring down apartheid, but he never wanted a civil war. Then what helped Nelson Mandela to win the support of the world? Nelson Mandela's prestige and charisma helped him win the support of the world. So these are the two things which helped Nelson Mandela win the support of the world. Now let us have a look at the questions. How long was Nelson Mandela imprisoned? Why? If I ask you how long, my answer will be, what will be my answer? First, I will start with the subject, Nelson Mandela. Then I will use the auxiliary verb, was. When we write the answer, auxiliary verb goes after the subject. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for nearly 3 decades. Then the second part of the question, why? So our answer will be, he was imprisoned for his fight against the white minority rule. He fought against the white minority rule, and as a result of his fighting, he was imprisoned. Third part of the question, Did the imprisonment take him away from his fight for his people's emancipation or freedom? The answer will be no. No, the imprisonment never took him away from his fight for his people's emancipation. Then the next question. What was Nelson Mandela determined to do? How did he win the support of the world? The answer will be Nelson Mandela was determined to bring down apartheid in South Africa without creating a civil war. He won the support of the world by dint of his prestige and charisma. Question number 5. When did Nelson Mandela become Africa's first black president? Let us first have an idea about the next para or next passage. Here, Nelson Mandela is saying something. What is he saying? Let us see. I hate race discrimination. Nelson Mandela is saying that he hates race discrimination. How much? Very intensely. He is saying, I hate race discrimination most intensely and in all its manifestations. So, what is the thing that Nelson Mandela hates most intensely? He hates race discrimination. He doesn't want any type of discrimination. And he is again saying, I have fought it all during my life, and I will fight it now and will do so until the end of my days. So, throughout his life, he is eager to fight against race discrimination. And he uttered these words in his acceptance speech on becoming South Africa's first black president in 1994. So, when did Nelson Mandela become South Africa's first black president? We have got the answer. He became South Africa's first black president in 1994. After becoming the president, he said, the time for healing the wounds has come. He wanted to mean that the black people have suffered a lot. Now it's time to stop their sufferings. And the moment to bridge the chasm that divides us has come. He wants to remove the division between the black people and white people. He doesn't want that there should be any type of discrimination between the black people and the white people. So he wants to remove the discrimination. We have already got the answer to this question. First, we will start with the subject, Nelson Mandela, then became. Why? Because our question starts with did. Nelson Mandela became Africa's first black president in 1994. Again, he is saying, we have at last achieved our political emancipation. That means the black people have got their political freedom. In 1993, Mandela was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. and it was an honor he shared with F.W. de Klerk. Who was F.W. de Klerk? F.W. de Klerk was the white African leader who had freed Nelson Mandela from the prison 3 years earlier and negotiated the end of apartheid. Now, if I ask you this question, who was F.W. de Klerk? The answer may be F.W. de Klerk was the white African leader who had freed Nelson Mandela from the prison and negotiated the end of apartheid. Mandela went to play a prominent role on the world stage as an advocate of human dignity in the face of challenges ranging from political repression to AIDS. So, he was an advocate, he was a supporter of human dignity. He supported, he believed in human dignity. Even in the face of challenges ranging from political repression to AIDS, he believed that every person should have due respect. Nelson Mandela formally left public life in June 2004 before his 86th birthday, telling his adoring countrymen, he told his adoring countrymen, "Don't call me, I will call you." Now, who said this? Nelson Mandela said this. By this, by this sentence or by these words, Nelson Mandela wanted to mean that it would not be necessary to call him. It would not be necessary to call him if any situation arises. If any odd situation arises, he will call the people. It will or it would not be necessary to call him. Though he left his public life, he remained one of the world's most revered or honored public figures. He combined a celebrity sparkle, he was a celebrity to the people, with an unwavering message of freedom, respect, and human rights. So he had a message. Nelson Mandela had a message. What type of message? He had an unwavering message of freedom, respect, and human rights. He believed in human freedom. He believed that every person should have respect, and he believed that every person should have human rights. Then we will look at a comment from Nadine Gordimer. Who was Nadine Gordimer? Nadine Gordimer was the South African writer and Nobel laureate in literature. She once remarked about Nelson Mandela, "He is at the epicenter of our time, ours in South Africa and yours, wherever you are." The years Mandela spent behind bars made him the world's most celebrated political prisoner. So, what made Nelson Mandela the world's most celebrated political prisoner? It is his sacrifice. He spent many years in the prison, and his sufferings made him a great person to the people. The years Nelson Mandela spent behind bars made him the world's most celebrated political prisoner. He was a leader of mythic stature, for whom, for millions of Black South Africans and other oppressed people far beyond his country's borders. So he was famous not only in his own country, he was famous throughout the world. He was charged with capital offenses in 1963 Rivonia trial, where he stood at the dock and gave a statement, and that statement was his political testimony. What did Nelson Mandela say at that time? He said, "During my lifetime, I dedicated myself to the struggle of the African people. I have fought against white domination. I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society." So, what type of society did Nelson Mandela want? Nelson Mandela wanted a democratic and free society in which all persons live together. He wanted such a democratic society where all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. So he wanted such a society where there will be equality. All people will be treated equally. And he told these words to the court. He added, "It is an ideal I hope to live for and to achieve." That means he wanted to live to achieve that ideal. He wanted to live to get an ideal society where there will be no oppression, there will be no discrimination, all people will be able to enjoy equal facilities. Again, he said, "But if needs be, if it is necessary, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." He said that he wanted to die for achieving that ideal. Friends adored Mandela. His friends loved Mandela and fondly called him Madiba. So, Madiba was the clan name by which Nelson Mandela was known. People lauded, people praised his humanity, kindness, and dignity. So, people praised Nelson Mandela for his humanity, kindness, and dignity. Now let us come to question number 1A. You will get this type of question. Now can you try to get the correct answer? Here your duty will be to know synonymous words. If you know the meaning of the sentence, obviously you have to get the or you have to understand the meaning in context. Try to get the correct answer quickly. This will be the first question from the first sin comprehension. I hope you have finished your writing. Now let us match our answers. First, you will write answer to question number 1A. Then you will write your answer this way. Not necessary to copy the question, you will write only the answer. The first one, discrimination. Second one, symbol, separation, differences on the basis of caste, creed, color. Then presentation. If you know the meanings this way, you can easily get the answer. So here the students are requested to read synonymous words, because synonymous words will be used frequently in question number 1A. Thank you all for watching.